Hello guys, I welcome you all to my course on web development. In today's course, we'll be taking a look at HTML5 for beginners. If you know you are a beginner and you have no prior knowledge in web development and HTML to be precise, this course is for you. HTML is an acronym which stands for Hypertext Markup Language. Let's break it down. We have hypertext, we have markup, and we have language. Let's break it down. Hypertext actually means that the text that is displayed on a computer display or other electronic devices with references or hyperlinks to other texts where screen readers can immediately access. Now the markup means the code you write is annotated with keywords. Shortly, I'll explain why HTML is a markup language. And obviously it can be read by human beings, which the computer also understands it. In this course, we'll be working with some two applications, a web browser and a code editor. There are quite a number of browsers, web browsers out there, Firefox, SpiderMonkey, Internet Explorer. But for the purpose of this tutorial, I'll be using Google Chrome, but you can use Firefox also to follow along. Then we'll also be working with the code editor. Code editor actually is the home for our codes. That's where we'll actually be coding. There are tons of them out there. There's Sublime Text, Atom, Dude++, but for the purpose of this tutorial, I'll be using Visual Studio Code. Okay, let's head on to code.visualstudio.com and download and install Visual Studio Code on our machine. It's available for Mac OS, Windows, and Linux. I've already downloaded and installed Visual Studio Code. Now, if you are done installing Visual Studio Code, it's pretty simple. If you finish downloading it, just start the installation and it's pretty easy. When you open Visual Studio Code, this is what you see. That's the screen. This first thing you see when you open Visual Studio Code. So guys, first of all, you need to create a folder where you put your HTML file or where you store your HTML file. So let's create our folder or new folder, which we'll name as this our folder, which we'll name as HTML crash course. Okay, this is actually our folder. That's where we'll be working with. This is where we'll actually store our files. So let's come to VS Code. Now in VS Code, when you get to VS Code or any of your code, just go to File, then come Open Folder. Let's locate our HTML crash course folder. Okay, let's open it with Visual Studio Code. Okay, it's now open. So now we don't have anything inside our folder, just an empty folder. With VS Code, when you hover over the name of your folder, you see some boxes here. I don't know if they are boxes, but let's just take it that way. When you hover over the first one is the new file. That means that you can create a new file here in that same folder. You can also create a different folder. So let's create a folder whose name is at index. Take note, when you bring your .html, that's the extension. That means that that's an HTML document or an HTML file. HTML. We are done creating our file. Let's get back to the folder. Let's open it. See, our HTML file is created for us. Index.html. Okay. With HTML, we'll be working with elements and tags. Tags actually show how the browser will format or display the content on the browser. Okay, basically that's what tags are used for. Now let's say this is the rule governing tags. It should have an opening and a closing tag. Then the in between here is where here is actually in between here, this is where you actually will put the content of your tag. So this is how you open a tag. You bring a less than one sign, then your element. This is P. P means that a paragraph, but you don't spell it out. You just put P. This is the reason why HTML is a markup language. The browser wouldn't output this P in the browser, but what it does is whatever goes in the middle here, that's the content. The content that goes in here is the paragraph. So if you want to output a paragraph on the browser, you have to open a paragraph tag, and you close it. If you are to close it, you bring a forward slash. This forward slash after this P means that the paragraph is closed. Then whatever goes in here is the document, and it's inside the document that will be outputted on the browser. Whatever is inside here, the content, is what will be output on the browser. Let's do some practicals. Okay, and we are now back to our HTML file. In HTML, you start by you bring your less than, you bring exclamation, then you say doc type. Doc type actually shows, it indicates that we are working with an HTML file. Then this is the syntax. Then you bring an HTML tag here. Then you bring your head. Head actually is a container, which is you use the head to actually give more meaning, or you give the name of your document. That's the HTML file, and inside it is really the title tag, and the title, that's where we are going to name our file. So let's say it's HTML5 crash course. We are done. So now we also have a body tag, and anything that goes in here is what will be output on the browser. First of all, let's save this. Let's come to our folder. This is our folder, the file inside our HTML crash course folder. Let's open it with Chrome. You see there's nothing on the browser because there's nothing in our body, in our opening and closing our body tags. But when we hover over it, you see HTML5 crash course, which is the title here. Okay, so do something here. Okay, and make this a bit bigger so that you can see the course well. Oops. Okay, yes. Okay, so first thing we'll be looking at, let's take a look at comments. Comments in programming is actually used by programmers to add more meaning to their codes. So in HTML2 there are also comments, and the browser wouldn't. What happens is when you specify, or when you have comments in your code, your browser wouldn't show whatever is in the comments. It treats it as a white space. It just ignores it. So for instance, in HTML, when you want to specify a comment, you bring a less than sign, then an exclamation mark, then 2 hyphens. With VS Code it automatically completes it for you. So whatever goes in here is actually your comment. Let's say we are beginning with headings. Now let's save and refresh. Nothing is output here. It just ignores it because it knows that it's heading. So whatever goes beneath the heading, we the programmers will now understand that, okay, this is heading. We are talking about headings here. So comments are very, very important. And HTML provides 6 levels of headings, where you have your heading tags as H1. H1 actually means that's the first heading, or the main heading. That's what H1. That's heading 1. So let's put text there. Let's just say this is heading 1. Let's have a subheading. Let's say this is heading 2. Let's have another subheading. Let's call it this is let's have H4, another heading. This is heading 4. Then we have H5, which is this is heading 5. Then we have our last heading. It provides the 6 levels of heading, as this is heading 6. So now let's save and see what happens in our browser. See, the first heading is actually bigger, and that's the main heading, followed by the second heading. Then we have our third heading in that order, and the last heading, that's heading 6, is actually our smallest heading. Okay, let's take a look at paragraph. Okay, so in our web page we'll actually be dealing with paragraphs a lot. So with paragraph, you open the paragraph tag and you close it. VS Code automatically closes it for you. So anything that enters here, the content that enters here, is what will be output on the browser. This wouldn't be outputted. HTML understands that this is a paragraph. That's why it's a markup language. So with this paragraph, let's just get some dummy. Let's put some dummy data there. Okay. See the nature of my thing. Let me just so let's save and refresh. So we have our paragraph here. This is our paragraph. You can have multiple paragraphs. That's 2 paragraphs. Let's save. We have this, our first paragraph. This is what our second paragraph. So basically that's how you add paragraph to the screen, or you output it on the screen. Also, we also have subscripts and superscripts, which, let's take it that in dates we have, when you have, let's see how to work with what subscript and what superscript, how to what push letters or characters upwards or downwards. So let's take it that let's have another paragraph here. Then for instance, we are working with this, so let's just say, for instance, I shall celebrate my birthday on the 13th of October. Let's just say this: I shall celebrate my birthday on the 13th of what? October. Let's save. I shall celebrate my birthday on the 13th of October. By which the best practice is to move the TH one at the top. So this is where the subscript and the superscript comes in handy. So what you do have to do is, after the 13, just say, you open your tag and say SUP, that's sub. Then you close it. Then you bring your 13. You bring your TH. So now let's save. Let's refresh and see what happens. See our 13th here. I shall celebrate my birthday on the 13th of October. What of superscripts? let's enter chemistry small. So let's take in chemistry we have carbon dioxide, which the 2 is always beneath the oxygen. So let's have another paragraph which we say the amount of carbon dioxide. So let's just say carbon dioxide, this is not correct though, but let's just go in the atmosphere has increased. Let's save. See what happened. CO2. But this isn't carbon dioxide. We want to mean carbon dioxide, which you know the 2 has to come beneath the oxygen, which shows that's a carbon dioxide. So what we have to do is after the oxygen, you just bring, you say sap, then you close it. So you now bring the 2 in between the sap tag, then you save. So when you refresh, 2 now comes beneath it. Also, we also have what? Line breaks. So let's take it that we want to break the text here. We want it when it reaches here, it should go to the next line. It shouldn't continue going, to go to the next line. So let's say our first paragraph, let's break the line somewhere here. So you just bring your break tag, you just say BR. Let's save, let's refresh. See what happens. When it got here, it went down here, it didn't continue again, it went down here. So that's how we use what? The break tag. And we also have a horizontal rule. Let's take it that we actually want to have a horizontal line beneath the first paragraph, so that it will clearly specify that this is our first paragraph, this is our second paragraph. So let's say we'll come here, you just say, you open your tag and you say HR. HR means that's just an horizontal line. Let's save, let's refresh. There's a horizontal line here. Let's see, this is the horizontal line. Okay, so let's take it that in your text on your paragraph, you want to make some emphasis. You want when the screen reader gets there, he or she should know you are making an emphasis on a particular text. So let's just say this Lorem Ipsum, we have to emphasize it. What you have to do, just open your tag and you EM, then let's cut it. Let's cut this Lorem. That's what we want to emphasize. But by default, the browser would make it italic. Let's save. See, it has become italic. So it just means that you are emphasizing on this particular text. That's the Lorem Ipsum. Also, you can also have what? Bold. You can bolding some of the text. So let's take that we want to bold this text, this particular text. So what we have to do is we just open our time, we just say B. That's all. B will be anything that goes in between the opening and closing tags of the B will actually bolden it. Let's see what happens. Let's refresh and we can see this has been bolded. Okay, also be working with abbreviations. Abbreviations actually, let's take it that you want to add some abbreviation in your text or in your paragraph or your documents on your web page. You just use, it has a tag, so you just ABBR, then you close it, then you bring your title. Whatever goes into this title, that's where you actually show the full meaning, or you specify, indicate the full meaning of your abbreviation. So let's just say want to use WW, so we just say World Wide Web. Then we'll now bring our abbreviation www. Actually, the best practice in this, you have to wrap it with in a P tag, that's a paragraph. Okay, I think it is AB title is equal to world wide web. Let's say www. Let's save. Let's refresh and see www. Let's hover over it and see. When you hover over it, you see World Wide Web. So it also comes handy. Okay, now we'll be working with, let's work with list items. Let's take it on your web page. You want to show or display certain list items on your browser. So let's comment that. So let's say list. Okay, so now list, we have three types of HTML5 has three types of list items. We have ordered list, unordered list, and definition list. Let's start with ordered list. Ordered list actually is used to specify that you are to treat this particular list items in order of a scale of reference or priority. Let's take it that you are taking a manual and you have to follow how to the procedure to prepare a recipe. You need to follow from the first, second, third, that's how you in that order. So that's what ordered list actually does. And the tag is just OL just means that ordered list. Then you close it. So whatever goes in between the in between the OL, the opening and the closing tags is the ordered one. The browser treats as ordered list. So you say what list item. So let's say tomatoes. Let's say oranges. Have another list item which you say mangoes. This is ordered list. Now let's refresh and see. And what the ordered list actually does is it gives what numbers to the list. So 1, 2, 3. So that means that you start from 1, 2, and 3 onwards going. Okay. Now let's see unordered list. Unordered list. Okay, so with the unordered list, it will give them bullets. It's not ordered. You are not working with them in order of what scale of reference or in order of priority. So you just say UL, which means an unordered list. Then bring your list item. Then let's just repeat these items. Copy. Then we paste. Let's save. Now see, it's unordered. That's why it gives the bullet. But when we get to CSS, you can see how we can even actually style or even show if you want it to be in a different manner. So now let's go to definition with list. So let's take it that you don't want to use either ordered or unordered list. You want to work with in your own way. So and it comes with terms and what the definition data itself. So let's say we have definition list. You have a definition term where let's say tomatoes. Then our definition, the data itself, let us say Lauren. Okay. Let's just copy and paste this a couple of times. Okay, so these tomatoes, so let's see here we have oranges, and here we have mangoes. Let's save, let's refresh. See everything I put in the browser here. Okay, now let's work with links. Before I work with links, let's look at attributes. Attributes basically tell us more about what the elements. They provide additional information about the contents of an element. So we have an attribute name where you specify what type of attribute it is. Then you attribute value where you actually describe what type of value you are using. So for instance, we have a P lang, that's our language, which we are saying it should have English. Okay, so now basically links just allow us to move from one web page to the other. And the syntax for a link is you have your A, which is your A tag, that's what we call it, an anchor tag. Then href, this href attribute, this is the attribute name, that's href, and this is the attribute value. This is the page where you want to link to or where you want to go to. And we want to go to https www.github.com, and the text or the content that comes after it is what you will be clicking on. So here we are saying go to GitHub. So when we click on go to GitHub, will be uploaded to the browser. So when we click on go to GitHub, it will send us, or we will go to GitHub. Will actually go to land on github.com. So let's take a practical look at it. So let's say we have links. So we say A. One thing I like about Visual Studio, if we just type A, see what happens. It just completes it. So you say https://www.github.com. Then we say go to GitHub. Let's save and let's refresh. Our text is here. Go to our GitHub. Let's click on it and see. It's opening github.com like that. See what is happening. We visited github.com, but it's actually my account, which I opened it some few minutes ago. So the session is still ongoing. So let's come back to our documents. Okay, so let's take it out. Also, let's work with emails. Let's say we want to click on a link which is open our email program for us to send someone an email. So with that, the syntax is you just bring your this href, which you say mail to colon. Then you see this. Let's say this is my email, alexadam269@gmail.com. Then you say email. Refresh. This is our email. Actually, let me break this. And then I break to this. So so that will come down. So this is the email. So let's click on it and see what happens. It opened the email program. That's how it looks, but we don't want that, so just leave it. It's still opening. Let's just close it. Okay, so let's take it that this https www.github.com, we want it to open in a different tab. We realize that first when we open it was still on our website, but we don't want it that. We want to open it on what? A different tab. So what you do is you just say target, which is equal to underscore, say blank, you save, then you refresh. Let's click on it. It opens a new tab to github.com. Let's cancel it. Okay, let's work with what? Images. Now let's take it that you want to embed certain images on your website, maybe probably a logo, or you want to display a gallery of what? Images. First of all, you need to, this is our folder, our HTML or crash course folder. You need to bring an image there. So let me go and grab sample image. Then let me just drop the HTML logo, just copy it, then I'll send it. Okay, just save it here in our HTML crash course folder. But before that, let me just rename it. This name is too long. Rename it as AJC HTML. You save it. Let's come. So with the image, actually, if you want to attribute, sorry guys, something is happening here. Something is actually happening. Sorry. What is this? What is this? Let me close it. Sorry guys. Okay, so if you want to specify an image, or you want to output an image on your browser, that is the syntax. You just say img. That's it. So but with VS Code, when you just say image, see what happens. Source, it shows that anything that goes in here, though, you have to specify or indicate where your image file is. So it's in a root directory, so we just say html.png. This alt here, that's where you are just giving some meaning, or just some additional meaning to your HTML image, or the name of the image, so that if something goes wrong, that you cannot open the image, doesn't display on the browser, then anything that goes in here will not be shown there. So but let's just output this and see. We've seen our HTML logo. There is it. So let's say the alt. Let's just say it's HTML. Now let's put 3. That's wrong, right? But let's save and see. You see, it's not there, but you see HTML. You see. So that's why the alt attribute is very, very recommended. But the best practice is when you are developing a website, you should create a separate folder for the images. So let's create a folder. Let's just say images. You can also say img. So let's put it here. But then let's go back to it. Let's save and see. We are not going to get it. Why? Because we've kept it in a folder. So we need to, and the folder we set is what? Images. We just say images, then bring your /. Let's save our image. You can now see our image. You can also specify the width of the image, but most of this down we see yourself, but it's also possible you can do that. So let's just say width is 200. Let's save and see. Then this okay. All right, add a line break here. Okay, so let's work with tables. Tables are actually used to display great format of a content, and the syntax is pretty easy. You just say table, you close your table. So for instance, let's say we want to output a table that we are going to assign the name, email, and the age to the table of a person. So you say table, then you say what? TR. That's your table role. You are creating a role for your table. And you say TH means that's table head. So you say name. Not another TH, which you say email. That's another TH, which is age. Now let's come here. Another table row. So TD means what? Table data. Whatever you input here, the first thing you input here will go to this. The second will also go to email. So our name, let's just say Adam Alex. Then our email is, let's just say alex@gmail.com. Then our age, let's say 30. Okay, let's save and see what happens. You see, we have a name Adam, then email, we have name is Adam Alex, email is alex@gmail.com, the age is 30. Then let's copy this a couple of times and paste it. One more. Okay, so here let's just change it to Adam Lexus or Adam Gaff. Let me say gaff@gmail.com. Office, let's just say 20 years. Let's just see John. Okay, James. Let's say john@gmail.com. Let's change John's age to 60 and let's save. Let's refresh and see. So we have name, and these are the names. We have Adam Alex, Adam Gaff, James, John, and these are their respective emails and their ages. Okay, so that's how we use tables. Now let's talk about form. Form, actually, why do we even need form in our website? We use form to collect data from our users. Basically, we have a sign up and login form. Yes, it's very useful. So let's look at how we can create forms using HTML. So you have your form tags this way. Then let's label our form. here label 4, that's just the name of our form. So let's just say name. Here we'll say first name. Then we have our input. Inputs actually mean that we want to take certain inputs from our user or the visitor, the one that is working with our form or is the user of form. We have to take some data from the person and submit it to the server. So that's why we use the input type, and we just normally just say a text. And the name, this name actually means that that's where you are giving this name because you are to tell this type. What the type is text, alright, but when you are submitting it to the server will take consideration of the name. That's where you actually inside this code, the name code, you will specify what type of what input is it. You give additional what meaning to what kind of what control this text is to the server. So let's just say the name is first name. Let's save this. Let's refresh and see. We have first name, which is, you can put any name there. Now let's have another one. And with this, let's just say let's say last name. Last name. Let's save. Let's refresh. You see it here, but then we don't want that. So we'll break it. Let's just add a line break here. It will come here. Let's add another line break. Let's save. Let's refresh. Okay. So we should have one more. We say email. So with HTML5, here the input type, you just say email. As email. Then let's save. We have our email here. Let's break it. Not add a line break. Let's save. Okay. We have our first name, we have our last name, we have our email. Okay. What of buttons? Buttons. So by button, that's actually the kind of the input where the button is actually where the user will, after the user has filled up the form, the user will have to click on a button to send the data to the server. So you can say input type, which is what button. The value is what button. Let's save and see what happens. You see, it's a button. Or you can also change it to click me. Let's save and see. Say click me. You can also choose to just say button. You just copy your button tag, and you can just say button type, which is equal to button. And your value is already click me. I should have a line break here. Let's save and refresh. So you have a button. So when you put your first name, this is just a basic form. Have your first name, your last name, your email, then your button. Okay, let's also look at, we also have date. Let's say input type, which is equal to date. Value is equal to date. Let's refresh. So with the date, you can actually, when you click here, you have your calendar, which you can use as today's date. And as at the time of recording this video, today's date is on it's 18th, and we are the 9th month 2020. You can toggle between the months. Cool. You can also have our numbers. Let's have input type, which is equal to number, name is number, value. Let's give it a value of 50. Let's refresh. Now you can either increment or even decrease from 50, 51, 50, 57. You can also decrease. Yeah. So basically, these are some of the form inputs we have. So in the description, I'll be providing some resources to learn HTML further. We've come to the end of our tutorial. You can get all these codes. I'll be pushing all these codes to my GitHub account, where you can actually download and practice. Thank you.